Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 9. We'll talk about the Kruskal-Wallis Test. Before that, I will introduce the member of Group 9. Myself is IZZATI binti ABDUL and the others member are NURUL IZZAH binti SHAMSUL NIZAM, MIMIE AZZIERA binti ZAMRI, NURUL IZZATI binti RAZALI, and AQILAH binti ZAHARI. Now I'm going to share about Kruskal-Wallis Test. It was proposed by William Henry Bill Kruskal, was an American mathematician and statistician, and Wilson Allen Wallis was an American economist and statistician in 1952. So what is Kruskal-Wallis Test? It is a non-parametric method for testing whether samples are originated from the same distribution. Non-parametric means that the test doesn't assume your data comes from the particular distribution. The hash test is used when the assumption for ANOVA are not met, like the assumption of normality. It is sometimes called the one-way ANOVA on rank, as the rank of data value are used in the test rather than the actual data point to avoid the testing being affected by a non-normal distribution of data. And the purpose of Kruskal-Wallis test is to test whether the median of two or more sets of unrelated measurements are different from each other. Why I tell you about the Kruskal-Wallis test? Because it may help you in your work, such as you want to test whether one or more group of experimentally treated organisms are different from control. Then you can analyze your data using a Kruskal-Wallis test, so it may help you to solve your problem. The null hypothesis is the median of the sample are not significantly different from one and another. The alternative hypothesis is the median of the sample are significantly different from one another. The criteria of Kruskal-Wallis test is when a sign value less than alpha, we will reject the null hypothesis, while the sign value is greater than or equal to alpha, we will accept the alternative hypothesis. So that is introducing about the Kruskal-Wallis test.
Next, I want to explain about formula that used in Kruskal-Wallis test. This is the formula that used in Kruskal-Wallis test. H is the test statistics, N is the total number of subjects, TC is the rank total for each group, and C is the number of subjects in each group. Example question. Does physical exercise alleviate depression? We find some depressed people and check that they are all equivalently depressed to begin with. Then we allocate each person randomly to one of three groups. No exercise, 20 minutes of jogging per day, or 60 minutes of jogging per day. At the end of a month, we ask each participant to rate how depressed they now feel. On the Likert scale that runs from 1, totally miserable, through to 100, aesthetically happy. First step is rank all of the scores, ignoring which group they belong to. The procedure for ranking is as follows. The lowest score gets the lowest rank. N is the total number of participants, all groups combined. We have 24 participants, 3 groups of 8. TC is the rank total for each group. TC1 is 76.5. TC2 is 79.5. TC3 is 144. NC is the number of participants in each group. NC1 is 8, NC2 is 8, and NC3 is 8. Here is the solution. Next, move to the next presenter. Thank you.
Now, we will look at the example that was selected, and I will teach you how to solve the question using the Kruskal-Wallis test. To solve the question, 4 steps are required, which are: make the hypothesis, calculate the H statistic value, find the critical value in the chi-square table, and make the conclusion. The null hypothesis is there is no significant difference for each depressed person's score in the assessment scale for different groups of participants. Meanwhile, the alternative hypothesis is there is a significant difference for each depressed person's score in the assessment scale for different groups of participants. Next, to calculate the H value, firstly, we need to set the rank of every data in ascending order. Then, by using the rank that has been set, add up all the rank for each particular group. The formula for the Kruskal-Wallis test is as shown. Now, we already have the data for every variable. We can start calculating the H value by replacing the formula with the obtained data. You just need to enter everything as in the equation into the calculator. And after solving the equation, we can get that the H statistic value is 7.27. Then, we need to find the critical value in the chi-square table. We must know the value for the degree of freedom and alpha value. We have three groups, so 3 minus with 1 equals 2, which means our degree of freedom is 2. For alpha value, if the question does not mention about it, so 0.05 is usually a point that is always used. Based on the table, we find our critical chi-square value, which is 5.991. In the last step before concluding, we must compare the H value calculated with the chi-square value found from the table. Now, we got that the H value is greater than the critical chi-square value. So we got to reject the null hypothesis. And this shows that there is a significant difference for each depressed person score in the assessment scale for different groups of participants.
Now, let me show you how to calculate Kruskal-Wallis Test using Microsoft Excel.
Now, I will explain step by step how you to use the Kruskal-Wallis Test. You must know that Kruskal-Wallis Test is used to compare the continuous outcome in greater than 2 independent samples. Step 1. You state the hypothesis testing, which is null hypothesis HO, K population medians are equal. Step 2. You calculate their test statistic by using the formula. Step 3. You state the decision rule, which is reject the null hypothesis HO if the value of H is greater than or equal to critical value. Next, I will explain the advantages and disadvantages of Kruskal-Wallis Test. The advantages of Kruskal-Wallis Test are easily understandable, short calculation, assumption of distribution is not required and applicable of all types of data. While their disadvantages are less efficient as compared to parametric tests, and the result may or not provide an accurate answer because they are distribution free. What the application of non-parametric tests? Application of non-parametric tests are: firstly, when parametric tests are not satisfied; secondly, when testing the hypothesis it does not have any distribution; thirdly, for quick data analysis; and lastly, when unscaled data is available. When to use this test? If the median of the data may accurately represent the center of the distribution and the sample size is large, we can use this test. That's all about Kruskal-Wallis Test. Thank you for watching. Bye!